We're live outside the Harris Teeter at the Friendly Shopping Center. Why? Because it's Food to Families, which is a WFMY News 2 family tradition for sure. Hey, you know what? You can join in, and all you got to do is sit on your couch. That's right. You can help your community, and we're going to be able to tell you how to do that without you ever having to leave home this afternoon.
Very nice. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Welcome
Absolutely.
to the 4 to 5. Eric Chilton, Cindy Moore, Chad Silber, and Tanya Rivera on location. We'll hear from her again.
And happy Friday to the both of you all.
Yes, happy Friday.
And we got to talk about this weather, Eric, as well, too, because right now the skies are looking pretty clear, but that was a complete different story earlier this morning.
Different story. So started out all sunshine, right? It was actually a beautiful day. Then we get the rain. We're going to see a few more waves of rain before it all leaves, but the weekend is like fall. You got to go to the mountains. Or maybe
nice.
to the Carolina football game.
Hey.
I've heard somebody may be going.
And I'm excited.
And how's the weather going to be for that?
It's going to be beautiful. Let's talk about that. Yeah, and I'm going too. So I told Sydney I'll see her in the stands maybe. Let's look at these temperatures and see what's happening. 60s for the most part. Now remember, a normal high this time of the year is around 69 to 70 degrees thereabouts, so not too far off the mark. A little bit cool. 64 in High Point, 65 Winston-Salem. Cooler in the mountains though, in the 50s there. 56 in Mount Airy and Wilkesboro at 55 degrees. Now when we look at the to the east though, we do warm up a little bit. RDU at the airport in Raleigh, they're up to 70 degrees right now. 47 tonight. The rain ends. We clear out, and it is a beautiful Saturday. The only issue on the backside of the front is that we get a little breezy, not so much windy, I would say, but winds west 10 to 15, gusting to 25. That's for your Saturday. Yeah, here's the radar now. Still more rain back to the west, so don't think we're finished with this just yet. But we're looking at this, and I think from a timing standpoint, we'll probably see a lot of this rain out of here between 8 and 10 o'clock tonight, if not earlier. But overall, we'll go with the breezy conditions Saturday and 67. Sunday, it's sunny and 65. And look at all the sunshines across the board. Mid-60s on Monday. We go up to 68 on Tuesday, and then a stretch of beautiful days above normal temperatures. Low 70s and sun for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Happening right now, a News 2 tradition, our annual Food to Families drive.
That's right. It's today and tomorrow at a participating Harris Teeter, Food Lion, and Walmart locations.
Tanya, rain or shine, we are out at the Friendly Center helping people in need.
And you know what? It is actually shine, so this is all good. And you just went shopping, and this is it right here. This is fantastic. This is a good heavy bag. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. So what we're doing when people come into the Friendly Center here at Harris Teeter, we're giving them a list, and it says, hey, here's a couple of things that would be good for Greensboro Urban Ministry to help your neighbors in need. Then people go in there, and it is amazing what people come out with. So a bag here, a bag there, sometimes an entire cart. Somebody gave an entire cart, which I think is really cool. Hey, you know, we do this twice a year, and in the spring when we did it, it helped get 24,000 meals. In the last year, I want to tell you these stats. The food pantry distributed 1.3 million pounds of food. More than 30,000 households received free food from the pantry, and recently, the pantry has averaged 150 guests per day. Now, I got to tell you, that last stat, 150 guests per day, is what really hit me, and here's why. I wanted to put it in context for you. So what you should be seeing right now is a picture of a movie theater. Why? Because movie theaters, just your average movie theater, has 150 seats. So imagine an entire movie theater of people that come to the Greensboro Urban Ministry every single day to go through the food pantry to make sure that they have food on the table. That is how you are helping when you help Food to Families. So you don't have to be out in the rain or shine today if you don't want to. You can even go to the grocery store this weekend, or you can donate right from your living room. Hover your phone over the QR code that we'll be showing on the screen. It takes you right to the donation page to Greensboro Urban Ministries. We have all the information for you on the website as well. That's WFMYnews2.com.
Tanya, thanks. Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup now. First up today, a student in Yadkin County was arrested, accused of bringing a loaded gun to school. Deputies say they got a tip from the Say Something app. The tip included information about a student with a loaded gun at Starmount High School. They say they found the gun and arrested the student. No one was hurt or threatened.
A fourth student has been charged in connection to the social media threats at Lexington Senior High School. Police say they identified and charged a 15-year-old for 2 incidents that happened earlier this month. The student is facing 2 counts of felony communicating a threat of mass violence on educational property.
An Alamance County family is suing the school district after a stabbing last school year. The lawsuit claims Cummings High School and a teacher didn't do enough to prevent the incident, which includes not having policies in place to properly identify and address threats. The district says it couldn't comment.
2 men are behind bars following an armed robbery and police chase. Greensboro police say 2 men walked in the Shell gas station on Battleground Avenue at 1 a.m. this morning. They say they showed a gun, took money from the store, and drove off. Police say they attempted to pull over the car, which prompted a chase. Police were able to arrest 22-year-old Daryl Adams and 33-year-old Roy Herbin, who they say are facing several charges.
A new addition to a man's backyard is not going over so well with some of his neighbors. They are 4 shipping containers.
Yeah, now the man's neighbors are rallying up to put an end to this newfound development in their community.
When I look at my window and I see those shipping containers, I'm not happy.
After decades in real estate, Bluma Bofford says she knows what can hurt property values.
Potential buyer's going to say, what is this?
And she also knows Brevard County's zoning codes. So when she saw these shipping containers being stacked in her neighbor's backyard, she says she and other residents became concerned. The realtor says they appear to be for living space because she says they have running water and electric.
This needs to be dismantled and come down, and that's it. You're only allowed to have 1 container in the back for storage purposes. That's all code allows you to do.
Flyers distributed around Diane Circle attribute those rules, as neighbors like Bofford are being asked to complain about the construction.
This is the Planning and Zoning Board.
Bofford says she called County Commissioner Jason Steele's office and was told the permit for construction was issued by mistake. A worker told us the homeowner wasn't home, and when we called him Tuesday, he didn't call us back, but the county tells us it issued a stop work order as it evaluates its options. The county says the homeowner seems willing to work toward a solution.
As far as I'm concerned, there is nothing to decide. Take it down and that's it.
They're building a whole city back there. You know,
Yeah.
Right.
I've seen, these are really growing in popularity. People using these for different reasons, storage sheds. Living spaces. I know that City of Greensboro is working on building like a facility where they like small businesses can be in. I
Right.
know Durham built it's like a storage shed facility.
Yep.
A neighborhood almost where they've got all these businesses. So I mean, with the good comes the bad, I suppose.
This is, I have seen people who have buried them in their yard. Now, sometimes they'll do it if they're preppers, you know, if they're like those people
sure.
that think bad things are gonna happen and they want a place underground. The other one is that, like for a man cave, and they will bury them
Okay.
underground and build steps down to it.
I think I've seen something like that on social
crazy.
media, which is very interesting. What do you think of that?
I mean, I think that's cool just
Yeah.
because it's so unusual.
Right,
you know?
yeah.
You just need a source of air coming in there.
that's right.
for sure.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting.
I like it though.
Yeah, I know, it makes me think.
You got enough room in your backyard.
Yeah, my wife is right now going, no. All right, let's talk about this. If you're a classic car enthusiast, there are lots of us out there. I'm one of them too, and I love the classic car shows. They're all over the place also, but happening this Saturday is one that's actually for a good cause, or maybe we should say causes. I spoke with James Grennan with Summit Credit Union to find out more.
James, let's talk about this. I mean, I'm a big classic car buff. How did this all come about?
Right on the fall of 2020, early 21, we were trying to find internally a fun way that we could get outdoors for our staff, for our members, for the community as a whole, and do a fun, worthwhile event. So one of our employees actually gave an idea. She's a car enthusiast and came up with a great idea of having a car show. Wanted to turn it into a charity event. And that's what we started with in the summer of 21. And it just exceeded our expectations.
So if I go to this, like describe the experience and what all will be there, because obviously there's a lot of other activities, not just the cars.
So it is, like I said, it's kind of fun for the whole family. There will be cars, trucks. This is our first year that we're having motorcycles for a show only. So just a fun event for everybody. Even if you're not a car enthusiast, we have a lot of things for the kids. We'll have live music. There will be face painting. The High Point Police and Fire Department are going to be on site, having a touch a truck, touch an emergency vehicle, so you can interact.
So the show itself obviously important, but you guys are really big on charity, right?
It's a fun event for the vehicles, but really what this is all about is to support two worthy charities. And one of those being is Backpack Beginnings. Their mission is to feed, comfort, and clothe the children in the Piedmont Triad. So along with Backpack Beginnings, we also added our the Hamilton Scholarship Fund, which is our in-house Summit Credit Union Scholarship Fund, in which we give annual awards to students and youth in the community. Last year we gave nearly $65,000 to the students in our community.
James, thank you. This is really interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll see you out there.
Well, we are diving into the growing no phone movement in schools. Up to 95% of teens own a cell phone, and kids can receive about 500 notifications a day, many during school hours, making it probably hard for them to concentrate.
A social psychologist calls the problem worse than vaping and found a school that's doing something about it.
For students at Newburgh Free Academy in New York, the first assignment of the day, locking their phones in pouches made by the company Yonder for 7 hours, including lunch. It was a bit of a shock for some students when the policy was introduced 4 years ago.
I was ready to start a petition, bring it to the principal, like, stop it real fast.
But no one signed 17-year-old Tyson Hill's petition, and now he loves attending a phone-free school.
Why is this approach better?
I mean, coming from a school where it was banned but it wasn't implemented, I was still using my phone. I was still on my phone.
Here, students walk with their heads up in the hall, socialize and laugh in the lunchroom, and focus on what teachers like Dennis Marr are saying.
That's the beauty of this. It's a game changer, yeah. It's night and day. I saw kids' faces again.
According to the CDC, in the 10 years leading up to the pandemic, feelings of persistent sadness and hopelessness, as well as suicidal thoughts and behaviors, increased by about 40%, while test scores, especially in math for grades 4 and 8, saw the biggest decline on record. While there's debate on whether technology, including phones, deserves much of the blame for these trends, social psychologist Jonathan Haidt says it's the only explanation.
So it wasn't the pandemic that did this to us. This was all starting in the early 2010s, and the only explanation anyone can offer for why this happened all over the world is the phones.
Haidt is the author of The Coddling of the American Mind and started researching Gen Z in 2015 when cases of anxiety and depression started to rise. He says in 2010, most teenagers had flip phones they use for texting, a tool to help them connect in person. But between 2010 and 2015, smartphones changed the landscape, inundating people with notifications, group chats, and social media.
Smartphones are basically kryptonite for learning. When children have a phone in their pocket, and most schools say you have to keep your phone in your pocket, you can't use it during class, which is like saying in a drug detox clinic, you can keep your heroin in your pocket, just don't shoot up, don't shoot up. If kids have access to a phone, they will text, they will check their social media, they will not pay attention to the teacher or to each other in person.
Back at Newburgh Free Academy, students lock up their phones and leave them in the classroom all day. The technology isn't new, but the company Yonder estimates they saw a 150% increase in schools using them in 2023, with more than 2,000 schools participating.
It's amazing to see kids come to school and not have to worry about that phone going off and a video being posted of them fighting in the bathroom or them being bullied by someone else on social media.
Assistant Principal Ebony Clark says the pushback to remove phones was minimal, including concerns over safety.
There's an emergency, an active shooter. That phone going off makes them a target.
Yonder pouches cost between $25 and $30 per student. Haidt says while they aren't foolproof, it's an easy solution for a generation in the midst of a mental health crisis.
This was a disastrous experiment that we began in the early 2010s. We didn't know any better then. We know better now.
Meg Oliver, CBS News.
This is hard.
Wow.
Because I have about 5 different angles. Yes.
I know, I see so many different angles. It's interesting, when I was in middle school, middle school time, I didn't really care for a phone at all. I think I was just so intrigued with like my classmates and, just making connections there. Having a phone wasn't something where I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta have it. Of course, times have now changed a little bit, so I can see why people are more distracted when it comes to that. But then I also think about, safety measures with parents nowadays wanting to stay in communication and contact with their children as well too, and could worry about the phones in the pouches. I'm like you, I could see so many different angles.
So we got my 13-year-old an Apple Watch that's cellular enabled, so he can make calls from it if he has to, but it's not really a smartphone, right? You can't play the games, you can't Google, you can't do all that. To me, maybe that's the answer, is that you can keep your smartwatch on, that way you can communicate. It's still, you can make a phone call.
But I wonder if teachers would think that that is still sort of
it's still distracting, but it's not
as
apps and social. You can't do Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and all that on there.
I'm all for it. I don't have a kid, so I don't have a teeth in the skin in the game, as they say. But I'm for it. Anything to keep kids from being so distracted in school. And they talked about the social media aspect of bullying and that kind of stuff.
Right.
Imagine if you didn't have your cell phone for 7 hours.
I know. I'm telling you.
That scares me. I'm not in school.
Oh, I get nervous
it's good to be in the moment.
Yes.
For
the ADHD brain, and I'm speaking from experience because I have it. A smartphone is the worst thing for you.
Yeah.
Because it's constant stimulation, entertainment all day.
People find comfort with it being right in your hands, huh?
Mine's right over there. We're going to take a break and be right back. I know we're all saying rain, rain, go away, and it will. It is on the way out, but we still have a few more waves of this moving through. This is the most recent radar imagery, and you can see Davidson County. I'd say pretty much anybody, top to bottom in Davidson County, you're getting ready to see some heavier rains move through. Today has been exactly what we talked about, really, just spotty showers here or there, could be heavy at times. The heavy rains were not short-lived. They're quick, because this is all moving along at a pretty good clip. But if we go out to the wider picture here, yeah, we see the breaks in the action in western North Carolina now, the rain just starting to taper down just a little bit. Here's what Futurecast looks like, and you can see we start to get some breaks by about 9 o'clock tonight. Mountain communities might be a little bit stubborn in getting rid of the rain, but as we head into the overnight and definitely into your weekend, wow, things are really nice. Saturday, a little bit of breezy conditions, so winds could gust up to 25 miles per hour, but we're clearing out, sunshine. Saturday and Sunday, mid to upper 60s. Same story Monday and Tuesday, all sunshine. Look at that string of suns all the way through Thursday. Friday, partly cloudy, but next week we warm a little bit, very comfortable. Low 70s for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
For people who live with ADHD, certain tasks can be difficult. Playing video games might be the last thing you'd think would make things better, but that's exactly how a new treatment works.
What if your doctor prescribed you a video game? This one was actually designed to treat ADHD.
This was built from the ground up to do something in the brain.
Dr. Scott Collins is one of the people behind Endeavor OTC. It's a video game that targets parts of the brain involved in attention control. It's been in development for 10 years, went through clinical trials, and has been presented to the FDA.
The FDA agreed, they reviewed all the clinical data and said, yeah, you can actually market this specifically to people with ADHD.
When you say it worked, what does that mean?
It improved attention and it improved function.
In the game, you have to pay very close attention and steer a character through a world while avoiding distractions.
It's the combination of those two things together that we know from a lot of other research stimulates the parts of your brain involved in attention. And just like other parts of your body with exercise, you can actually strengthen neural connections through using this treatment.
There are now 2 versions, a prescription version for kids and an over-the-counter version for adults.
I really saw the immediate effects.
Brian Watkins is the executive director of the California Republican Party. He also has ADHD.
It takes time, extra time throughout your day to plan certain tasks.
When he heard about Endeavor OTC, he thought he'd give it a try.
That it's not fun, but it's like fun going to the gym. You know you need to take care of yourself.
It's a big goal for us is actually to get people to really think about this as a treatment that's delivered through a game.
A prescription to play that could make a big difference. Dominic Garcia, CBS News.
Interesting, and it's estimated about 6 million kids and more than 8 million adults have ADHD.
It's funny, when I was a kid, my mother said, Eric is hyper. That's what they used to call it, which was hyperactive. And she would go, he's just hyper. The doctor was like, take him off sugars. That doesn't fix a thing. Yep, didn't fix a thing. So,
It's crazy that we have come to figure out that if you develop a video game for specific issues, that you can fix those issues.
I love that, or at least help. I mean, that's my kid who has ADHD, like me, video games are his thing, and if this helps, I'm all about it.
I do, outside of ADHD, but talking about video games specifically, I remember playing them when I was younger, and when it came to just kind of focusing and just allowing my mind to be on the game, sort of, and at a calm state, video games did help in that way sometimes. Felt like you were in a different world sometimes.
My kid can play, and it to the point where I'll just say their name over and over, and I have to go up and go, hey, and then what? Oh, okay. Crazy.
The attention was there. It was
wrong
it was
place.
Just the A,
right?
not the ADHD, right?
Right.
Listen to your dad.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back.
Yo. Mic check, Jalen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Hello, I'm giving you a mic check, and I'm making a request that when video or prods are up, that you tell me that the video or prod is up, please. That's okay. The sun's out now, but you know what? It was chilly, it was rainy. That means that it was a soup night or a ravioli night or maybe a mac and cheese night. The same things that you want to put on your table for dinner, the folks who go through the Greensboro Urban Ministry Pantry want to put on their food. We want to put on their table for dinner too. You know what? You can help them make that meal and you can help your community. I'm going to tell you how coming up next.
Welcome back to the 4 to 5. Katie's having fun out there. I was out there at noon, and there was a couple of people that brought out not a couple bags like they normally do. They brought out entire shopping carts.
Oh, it just warms your
filled.
heart.
Yes.
And boy, did we celebrate those people when we saw them today.
Woo!
Yes.
We definitely do.
And while we were out there, no more than an hour, it was rain, then sun, then rain again.
And that's today. That's going to be today until about 9 to 10 o'clock tonight, we think. Let's talk about that and get right to the forecast. And some good changes, though, coming up for your weekend. If you like fall and you want it to feel like football weather, and maybe you're going to catch some games. I mean, this is Saturday, Sunday is perfect fall weather for North Carolina at this time of the year. It's a little cooler than expected or cooler than where we should be, but still a nice fall day. We're in the 60s for the most part, except for our higher elevations. Wilkesboro 55, Mount Airy 57. Burlington's at 66, and we see a couple of 65s for Lexington and Asheboro. Troy in Montgomery County at 67. Going to 47 tonight. That means tomorrow morning. That's your chilly start to the day. Sun returns with a high of 67. I mean, it's comfortable heading into Saturday and Sunday. Really don't have any issues. Here's the current radar. So next in line for some heavier rains, Winston-Salem, Yadkinville getting rain as we speak. Lexington will get rain, and then the southern parts of Davidson County, I would say around Denton too. Watch for some heavier showers there. Here's your long range forecast. The weekend, mid to upper 60s and sun. Monday, sunny and the coldest morning with a low of 40. 65 and 68 Monday, Tuesday, but we're loving Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Low 70s and mostly sunny skies.
Eric, thank you. An update out of Israel. The Hamas terrorist group has released 2 American hostages. They were among more than 200 people abducted nearly 2 weeks ago.
In a statement today, President Biden said he was overjoyed that they'll soon be able to reunite with their family and that the U.S. will not stop trying to secure the release of other hostages.
The Israeli Prime Minister's office confirms Hamas has released 2 U.S. hostages, a mother and daughter held for nearly 2 weeks. Judith Tai and Natalie Shoshana Ra'anan. Hamas says it let them go for humanitarian reasons. Israeli families of many of the remaining hostages gathered Friday at a massive Shabbat table set with 203 empty seats.
We're trying to send them all the blessing and the strength that they need. I hope they will hear us and feel us as we feel them every day. And we believe in them, that they are strong and they can make it.
In Gaza City, residents are mourning victims of an Israeli airstrike that damaged part of a church where Christians and Muslims were taking refuge. Palestinian health officials say more than a dozen were killed. Israel's military says it was targeting a militant command center.
Nobody is safe in Gaza, regardless of religion, regardless of your involvement in anything. Nobody is safe.
Civilians in Gaza are struggling. Israel has cut off food, fuel, water, and medicine. The UN Secretary General visited the crossing from Egypt into Gaza Friday morning, pleading for humanitarian aid to be allowed through as soon as possible.
It's absolutely essential to protect civilians, and it's absolutely essential to make humanitarian aid come to the Palestinians in need.
President Biden says he's confident the aid will get in soon.
I believe that within the next 24 to 48 hours, the first 20 trucks will come across with aid.
As the civilian death toll mounts, all sides are watching what the next hours and days will bring. Tina Kraus, CBS News, Tel Aviv.
The Palestinian Health Ministry says more than 4,100 Palestinians, including hundreds of children, have been killed in Gaza. Another 13,000 have been hurt. Israel says 1,400 of its citizens have died since Hamas attacked nearly 2 weeks ago.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. House Republicans have dropped Representative Jim Jordan as their nominee for Speaker of the House. This comes after Jordan fell short of votes for the 3rd time today. North Carolina Representative Patrick McHenry currently serves as the pro tem Speaker after Congressman Kevin McCarthy was ousted from his seat. Now, with 11 days left in the month, House Democrats are working to fill the spot to avoid a government shutdown.
Another Trump co-defendant pleaded guilty today in the Georgia election interference case. The attorney for Trump pleaded guilty to conspiracy in exchange for 5 years probation. He must also testify against the other co-defendants in future trials and write an apology letter to the people of Georgia.
President Biden addressed the nation from the Oval Office last night. He urged continued military support and funding for Israel and Ukraine. The president said the outcomes of both wars are vital to American national security. President Biden is expected to ask Congress for billions of dollars to help fund the two nations' military needs.
A soldier is facing charges after the Army says he illegally crossed the border into North Korea. Travis King is now in U.S. custody and facing charges of desertion, assaulting other soldiers, and child porn. In a statement, his mother asked that her son be afforded the presumption of innocence.
The city of High Point is making room to bring in a pro soccer team next year. Development is happening out of Truist Point Stadium as it prepares to welcome the Carolina Corps Football Club. The team is joining the MLS Next Pro League and being led by North Carolina native and NC State grad Roy Lassiter. WFMY News 2's Jalen Gilkey brings us insight from the new members of the Carolina Corps.
Yes, Sydney, it was a big day out in High Point as the Carolina Corps Football Club announced that they've signed the first 2 players in club history as the roster begins to shape up headed into the 2024 season. And one of those players is already very familiar with the triad. 17-year-old midfielder and Greensboro native Aria Miller is one of 2 guys added to the roster today. Miller recently was called up to be a part of Liberia's U17 national team, where his talent was on display for the world to see. But with his signing to the Carolina Corps, he's become the club's first homegrown player to be added to the roster. And the other newest member of the team, another teenager, 15-year-old Drake Hadid. Hadid is from the island of Antigua and is viewed as one of the more promising midfield talents in the world. Now, let's hear from the newest additions to our team.
Today is amazing. You know, I never would have thought High Point would get a team. And then not only for them to get a team, but for me to be one of the first signings is amazing. Yeah, so this is a very special day for me and my family. I have some family, you know, around here, so it's definitely big. For the football side, I don't really feel any pressure, you know. Football is something that I've worked at, you know, I've been doing my whole life, so not really so much for this side. If anything, it's more pressure from the press conference than football side.
Me being young is just a benefit. I get to learn from the excellent technical staff we have here. And all the older players coming in will just teach me things that, you know, they've been through, they've experienced that, you know, I haven't been to that point in my career yet. So to me, it's just a benefit. You know, the challenge is great to train day in, day out at a high level. It's just going to be only good and beneficial for me and my career.
And if you think you've got what it takes to make the Carolina Corps roster, they're hosting open trials tomorrow at the Phillip Park Soccer Complex in High Point. Things get kicked off at 9 a.m.
I think it'll be a good crowd of folks coming out trying to, try out.
I never know.
Yeah.
You never know. I would imagine there's going to be a good amount of local talent that is out there. But I mean, maybe some people are intimidated. We'll see.
I had no idea that you could be so young and play for this league.
Yeah, 15.
Wow. Now the U.S. they're doing this push to try to get the younger community involved in the soccer to help develop and bolster our programs and whatnot. So I mean, these. The one kid, Drake, he's from, like I said, Antigua, and so, he's kind of used to doing this already. And even to see the other young man to be represented for Liberia, his parents' home country, it shows the push that the United States is having in developing young talent.
And we're kind of behind when it comes to the rest of the world. I mean, we're late to the game, but soccer is huge. Football.
I am really rooting for the Carolina Corps. I really hope that they get a lot of people who follow them. I mean, it can be difficult with a league that's not the #1 league in your sport. So I'm hopeful that there will be a lot of support for them.
And they've got plenty of season tickets available left. So Chad, you can pick up your seat.
That'd be fun.
Eric, pick up your seat. Sydney, let's go out and support.
I'm ready.
All right, thanks, Jalen. As you know, there is usually so much pressure around getting engaged. Typically, it involves someone getting down on one knee.
That's right, but now the game has changed. Listen to how a couple in Kansas took their engagement to greater heights.
The opening of any relationship begins with a connection, and for Vance and Claire, theirs started with a phone call.
I lived in Virginia, so we got to talking over phone for about a month later.
Yeah.
Talked for about a month and then met her in person.
In just 4 months, Vance knew Claire was the one, and with the help of his brother, and his longtime friend Taylor, Vance got to thinking.
And was like, hey, what do you think of this idea of his brother Blaine had just cut a soybean field out there, and if we work Marry Me into this field and you fly us over?
The idea became reality as the farmer turned this soybean field into the biggest question of his life. All he needs now is a plane.
Originally, kind of throw her off the trail, I told her that we were going to go cut beans, and because that's real romantic for us farmers. And then Taylor just happened to call while we were driving home and asked us if we wanted to go to Spearman's.
With Taylor's plan in mind, the couple took off from Newton's airport. Vance was ready, but just a little nervous to ask the big question.
I just kept looking to my side, making sure I could feel the ring so I could pull it out real quick once she saw the words. And at one point, I actually thought she saw it, and I was like, oh man, it's busted, but no, I guess I kept it hidden long enough.
It's in this moment where Vance decides to create the bond of a lifetime.
It was more just a relief and just overwhelming joy when she said yes.
And as for Claire,
I was just shocked because he can't keep a secret. So I wasn't expecting to be surprised.
I wasn't sure if I was going to have to threaten to throw her out the window or something, but no. It was just, I was really, really excited about it.
You go.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, that was beautiful. I mean, check that out. The big Marry Me sign. I can only imagine her face the moment she saw that. It's beautiful.
I had a relative that did that in the sand and then got his girlfriend, I guess, before fiance, to walk out onto the balcony at the beach and said, isn't it pretty, the sunrise? And then she looked down like, ah, you know.
I think if I were on that plane, you know, and if, you know, being in her shoes, I'm sure she was like, look at somebody's proposing.
Proposing?
Yeah, right.
And then she looks over and he's down, you know, one knee with the ring in his hand. Now that's a funny scenario too.
Funny. I asked my wife to marry me in triad stage.
Wow.
And I tricked her into thinking there was a band on the 3rd level, and there wasn't one. I had a friend bring her, and when she walked in, my friend who was a manager at Triad Stage lit a table in the upstairs with just in the champagne and all that. So when she opened the door, she's like, there's no band in there. She saw me and right away started crying. And she knew exactly what was going to happen.
When it comes to the sand, I wonder what goes all into that. You know, like, I mean, in terms of just how they dig and make sure that it's.
I mean, yeah, they just like they plowed a soybean field.
Plowed it, yeah.
But you'd have to map it out.
Map it out. That's the part I'm talking about. But
to keep it in proportion so the letters don't look all jacked up.
Don't look all over the place. But
it's a lot of work.
That's beautiful. Congrats to that
great.
couple.
That's great.
Cool.
We'll be right back.
Humidity all the time. It's just gross. Like the only time to be in Florida to me is like from Thanksgiving until like
end of March.
End of March. That's it. I mean, I just.
Well, that's what the snowbirds do.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Vero Beach like triples in size from November to then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and my dad had a place for a long time in Pensacola.
Stick mic check. Okay, this is Brian Hahn. Tell me what you had for lunch.
Oh, what did I have for lunch today? Pasta. So good. Well, you gotta find a place to stop.
All right, you sound good.
Our annual Food to Families Drive is happening right now. WFMY News 2 has partnered up with Greensboro Urban Ministry to help families put food on the table.
Tanya is out at the Harris Teeter at Friendly Center to explain the importance of donating today. Tanya.
Hello, 4 to 5 friends. All right, so with me right now is the Chief Executive Officer of Greensboro Urban Ministry. That is Brian Hahn. Let's talk a little bit about how the donations today and tomorrow will impact our community, at least in the short term.
Yeah, we need this food. You know, our pantry operates 5 days a week, year round, and we give away about 100,000 pounds of food a month, and we're about out. And so this food drive is at a critical time. And we are so grateful for the way folks are stepping up and helping us out this season.
Recently, you guys changed how you do a food pantry. So kind of let's talk about that, especially if people don't know.
Yeah, it's a client choice food pantry, meaning folks get to come in and choose just like the folks at this grocery store, right? They're getting to come in with a cart, pick out the food items that they feel's best for themselves and their families. Fresh produce, eggs, milk, meats, of course, non-perishable items like this, and they're making healthier choices, again, because of the generosity of folks like today.
Yeah, and I love that they get to choose whatever it is that they want instead of being handed a bag of whatever is in there.
Absolutely.
So when folks are going to the store today and tomorrow, because you can donate tomorrow too, what kinds of items are most needed?
Yeah, we need the same kind of items you would put in front of your kids. Mac and cheese, baked beans, black beans, rice, you know, non-perishable items that you would make for your family tonight. That's what we need. And then folks' generosity of not just the non-perishable items, but even monetary donations enable us to do, you know, the fresh produce and foods that folks are choosing to have.
And that is so much different, because I think a lot of people think, you know, well, I'll just give $1 or $2, but if they give $1 or $2 to you versus spending the $1 or $2 in the store, it actually goes farther.
Oh my gosh, we can make $1 go so far. I mean, we're seeing about 150 families a day. That's not individuals, families coming through our doors, you know, needing food. And so we're helping folks make healthier choices, more economic choices, so that they can be sustainable going forward.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to be out here until 6 o'clock.
Okay.
And then we're going to be out here tomorrow too. And you know what? I want you to know that you can donate online as well. You don't even have to leave your couch. So I want to show you how you can do that. You can find the store that is nearest you going to shop today or tomorrow. It's all right on our website. Look for the Food to Families story. It is on our homepage.
Well, it's all about the rain right now, isn't it? Just how long is it going to last? Where we'll see the heavier rains, and we've got to get this out of here tonight. We will later tonight. This will all be a memory. But right now, some of the heavier areas moving into Winston-Salem, you can see in Forsyth County there, right along Highway 52 heading up to King, or if you happen to be heading west on 421, you're going to run into some pretty heavier showers. And that also will be moving into Kernersville in about the next 30 minutes to an hour as well, and Greensboro eventually. From Denton over to Seagrove, down to Troy, and down to Albemarle, we're seeing some heavier rains there. This is the kind of thing where you'll get a hit or miss heavier shower. It just won't last very long, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and then it's moving along at a pretty good clip. Now back behind that, we don't see much of anything, do we? There is a ridge of high pressure that once this moves through, we'll see that clear out. Speaking of clearing out, we think, and this is tonight at about 11 o'clock now, we're going into Saturday morning, notice it's all gone. So hopefully by 9 to 11, all of this will be out of here, if not a little bit earlier, and then we'll start to see some clearing. It ends up being that our weekend looks pretty darn good once that front moves through. Little breezy on the backside of the cold front for Saturday, winds gusting up to 25 miles per hour, but still we'll see clearer skies and that high pressure. Now, as that high moves to the east, we see a warm up, and it looks great for the second half of next week. If you have any vacation days you want to take, that Thursday, Friday, and actually Wednesday as well. Not bad. So let's go with 67, a little breezy Saturday and clearing. It'll be sunny on Sunday, Monday, mid-60s. The coldest morning is Monday morning at 40, which means we'll see some upper 30s here or there. Then 68, sunny Tuesday, sunshine Wednesday, Thursday, and low 70s. Beautiful, even Friday, partly cloudy with a high of 73.
No, it looked like you were down a little bit.
Okay.
Mic check, Dana?
I don't hear anything. Hey, something must be off on my thing.
We gotta add.
Oh yeah, it died.
Do a mic check though.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together like a classic combination.
Hi, doing a mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, talking about a nasty day today, but a pretty nice weekend ahead.
Hi, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina.
Oh, I can.
Bag at that moment.
Yeah, sure.
In the background.
Hello. Sorry, like the phone just died. Sorry, I can hear you just fine. I appreciate you.
Mic check, Jalen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
So it's time for my 2 cents. And you know, that happened literally while we were getting ready to film this. That's an entire cart that someone filled up for us for Food to Families. We've been doing this. Let's come back over here. I want to show you. I mean, look, people are running by. It's like the real deal. All of this, people are donating, they're sharing, supporting Greensboro Urban Ministry. And I want to tell you, we cover a lot of stories, right? Day in and day out. And as somebody who's been doing this for 35 years, and by the way, 31 years that WFMY has been doing Food to Families, we cover stories where we see the other side of this. For you, you come out and give food to us, and it's a wonderful thing. But really, for us, we have seen the people that this impacts. We've seen the shelves of the Greensboro Urban Ministry when it's low. 30,000 people were serviced by just last year in the Greensboro Urban Ministry. They had 1.3 million pounds of food that they had to give away. So my 2 cents today is really your 2 cents. Thank you so much for all you've done over the years, and Food to Families will probably never stop, and it's people like you that keep all of these carts going and feeding people in the Triad. Thank you so much. That's just my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
One of Israel's largest cities is under evacuation tonight. How the U.S. is preparing to step in as a ground assault could begin as soon as tonight. We have new insight tonight on efforts to stop violent crime in the Triad's 2 largest cities, how they're trying to cure the violence.